Chapter 6, Hawkins Mansion, again. Pierce woke up in an asylum, installed in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. He met Dr. Colden, a female friend of Bradley, who helped him to escape. Wandering through the corridors of this place, where Dr. Fuller reigned supreme, Pierce was able to talk to a man called Francis Sanders. Before dying in full view of the detective, he accused Sarah Hawkins of being the cause of his torments. Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. Okay, so it sort of implies that they're both alive. The companions in misfortune decide to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout.
Who goes there?
Yeah, I recognize this area.
That nightmare again. I need a drink.
No, you don't. You do not need a drink, Edward. It's going to make you worse. We need the story from him to understand how he survived. We're back here and it looks so much better in the daytime. Don't know if there's going to be new interactables around here. Yeah, when we came here there were lit lamps, it was spoopy as hell.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
That's entirely reasonable. Yeah, this place looks like it's been cleaned up, I think. There was the book around here on Greek mythology. Apart from the books being a bit disorganized on every single bookshelf, this place doesn't actually look too bad.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day's only starting. It's fine.
You're like a FromSoft NPC, your lips weren't moving. Alright. Let me just move to a good position here. That will do. Answers.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Oh. How on earth did we get that? Because we can only progress occultism by picking up objects or maybe passing occultism checks, perhaps. I've got no clue how we unlock that one. Bradley. Answers. I found this what? Yeah, you should be dead, but I can't ask that because my medicine isn't high enough.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Can we not directly ask him, hey, we went into the study or whatever it is, went down some stairs, found a creepy cave, found about 10 cultists and all that crap? Yeah, your memory.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
Changing the subject. Okay, so one of two things. That facial expression makes me think the first thing. The first thing is that you are sus as fuck and you're hiding something. The second is that whatever Charles did, you're perhaps being in the process of being transformed, you had your memory erased perhaps, and you genuinely don't realise what's happened. But I said right from the start that you're sus, and I'm going to stick by that until I'm proven wrong.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Yeah, we're not passing that check.
I found a Darkwater PD badge. Lost a colleague recently?
What the...
Bradley.
Ethan?
I'm alright, I just had a... It's gone.
You're sure?
If it's important, it'll come back. But I can't explain why Dr. Fuller would have that badge.
The man's a danger, believe me.
What can we do, Pierce?
My gut feel is this guy's lying through his teeth.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
They saw too much. Investigation Master 100%. Did he found the place?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla.
Oh, here we
He
go.
founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Why don't you fear him?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, and chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you.
You weren't there.
I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
If you'd just gone maybe into another room or two rather than picking me up the stairs, you would have seen what we're talking about.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere.
Nurse Donovan.
My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed... demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
We've discovered that Bradley is full of shit.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
And you never will.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
Oh, it's complicated.
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
We're in this deep.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
On one hand, I want to say that because I think that's just being honest and being respectful. But on the other hand, we could barely describe what the hell happened to Marie and Bradley in front of us. We couldn't say, oh, he was lifted in the air by an invisible force and then slammed against the bars of the cell and had his brains bashed out or whatever. That sounds insane to these two, and we can't articulate ourselves to these two. How are we going to be able to say that to her wife?
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Oh.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
I think we've only seen two of those choices that affect destiny. One is the choice that we just made of telling Irene how her husband died, and the second is whether we drink whiskey or not. Game's going places. No more sanity. 4 character points, so yeah, I want 2 more so I can bump up spots hidden. But I could potentially upgrade one of these: eloquence, strength, or psychology. How am I supposed to get medicine up to level 3 so I can pass that check? Or indeed, occultism. I must have missed some stuff, surely. I'm missing a sanity thing here, so I do wonder if I've just straight up missed an area somewhere. Yeah, no, we haven't seen that. Francis Sanders knew Sarah Hawkins so well that he accused her of being the source of his suffering. The man gouged his eyes out with his own hands and smeared the walls of his cell with esoteric symbols. He seems to be obsessed with a shambler linked to Sarah Hawkins. He died before my eyes in circumstances that I cannot explain. Dr. Fuller. Dr. Fuller reigns as the undisputed master of the Riverside Institute and of its cellars, in which he carries out illegal experiments on his patients. I don't know what he has done to me, but I shouldn't be back on my feet so soon after my fall when the tunnels under the Hawkins mansion caved in. This man is dangerous, and I'd swear that he knows more about all this business than he's willing to tell. Cellars. Strictly speaking, I didn't spend much time in the hospital. When I woke up, I was immediately transferred into the cellars of the Institute, a sort of clandestine asylum where Dr. Fuller carried out his experiments on patients without being troubled. Unknown machines sit beside anatomical drawings that are disturbing, to say the least. I just managed to escape from this place. I might not have as much luck another time. Yeah, we've seen those. Right, what else is around here? Came down those stairs. We have an exit above. We have an exit here. That globe's not going to open up a hidden passage. It's bad enough trying to get through this world without being drunk at the same time. We need all the lucidity that we can manage. Alright, do you two have anything else to say before I yeet out of here?
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Yeah, I don't trust you.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
I do not trust you at all.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Are we all going for dinner?
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Alright, I think both of these doors are going to progress. Yeah, leave, and the bottom door's going to do the same thing. Chapter 6. Sanders' Resonance. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decide to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trial to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. It was a painting, and maybe a physical thing. An invisible physical thing that took him out inside the cell.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here.
Why is she here?
You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Please don't destroy any evidence in that office, Cat.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned.
How long ago was
You,
that?
on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
You phrase it as an attack. I'm not going to say that. We said we wouldn't say that. That is a flat-out lie, but you know what? I think that is actually the best answer here. I don't want to say that. She's going to query stuff, and we're not going to have a good answer for her.
We had a short conversation and then I left. I don't know what happened after that.
Oh, I see. Mr. Pierce, you must forgive my audaciousness, but I've had practice of life in high society for over 30 years. Reading one's interlocutors, recognizing the politeness of a lie, are things that are taught very early to young girls from a good family. But your lie has nothing polite about it. It is crass, insulting, and dare I say, terribly suspicious. Try to understand my position. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
I have to ask, what is going on with your dress? I'm not moving the analog stick at all. Edward definitely lowered his eyes. I've got no idea what the hell is going on with your dress there. I think it's a texture problem. If it's something more, then I'm scared. She saw straight through us. Damn. I'm gonna say that.
So ask Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me.
Destiny.
He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
The painting.
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
Good answer.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
Are you being blackmailed as well?
How did you come to meet Sarah Hawkins?
We were the wealthiest and most influential families on Darkwater. Of course we would know each other. And when Charles returned from Europe with his sweet little artist, she and her sinister paintings were destined to catch my husband's eye. He bought many of her works over the last 5 years. They adorn his macabre gallery.
Check that out. She can pronounce macabre correctly.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Jesus, Pierce.
Who else?
Get
to
with the
paint such
program.
horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you are so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Pierce, I'm a dumbass playing video games and I got this well before you did. 2 character points. We have 6 points available. I said I would put them into spot hidden. So at this point, I think I'll start increasing eloquence and psychology, perhaps. No, I want to validate those attributes. Alright, Irene Sanders. It's clear that she holds Sarah Hawkins responsible for the death of her husband. But what I don't understand about Irene Sanders is this mix of sadness and insensitivity. It looks like she had given up on her husband long before his horrid death in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. I'm not really getting that vibe from her just talking to her there. Maybe she's just a bit detached, but I didn't get the vibe of her giving up, so to speak. What have we got here? And there's a lot of stuff here. The Institute. In the cell of the patient that they forcibly removed, the same symbol, repeated over and over again. A star with a kind of branch at its center. It's an eye. The most astonishing thing is that this poor wretch was visited by Sarah Hawkins. What was their relationship? If I find him, will I learn more about the death of this enigmatic woman? Dr. Colden's plan did not work. Another doctor, perhaps her superior, caught her in the act and she had to go upstairs, without me. The guards are still in front of the door, and I'm in no condition to fight. I must find a way to create a diversion. I've got two possibilities to create the diversion that will allow me to get to the floor above unnoticed. The electric machine or the gas piping system. We use the machine. One or the other should allow me to create enough chaos for the guards to leave their posts. I discovered a strange electric machine. It links two vats filled with a translucent liquid in which huge organs are floating to a power-up system that runs to a dentist's chair. I've got no idea what it's used for, but if I could overload the thing, it might create the diversion I need. That's exactly what we did. One of the inmates is ready to help me if I find him some sleeping pills. In exchange, he swears to me that he can draw the attention of the member of the asylum staff who is on guard in front of the morgue. That is oddly specific. There's an installation that seems to supply the whole complex with gas. The cells are fitted out so that there is a continuous feed. If I could get the pressure to build up, I might be able to blow it up and create a diversion. I tried that afterwards, and unfortunately we can't do both at the same time. This man, Francis Sanders, died right before my eyes. Tortured by the doctor, a dirty bandage covering his eyes, dying. He was lifted off the ground and his body twisted as if some invisible power was handling it. I didn't see anything, but with the gas they send into the cells, the injections, I don't know what's true. He accused Sarah Hawkins just before he died. That confirms the fact that they knew each other. The manor. I finally reached the stairs that led to the first floor of the Riverside Institute, but on the way, I inhaled some gas that was leaking from a damaged pipe, and I passed out. I remember Bradley, alive, really, who was talking to me, and I came into the Hawkins mansion. I must understand what I'm doing here, and what happens next. The Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close, it's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for her. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one. In theory, Francis Sanders was a renowned art collector. I must question his widow, Irene Sanders, to know more about his links with Sarah Hawkins and to discover the identity of the visitor he talked about before he died. But we can't talk more. Damn, the way she saw through that lie. And yes, I think that was the correct call, because if we said that she died right in front of us, she would ask for information, which... would she believe us? I wonder if she would, because she saw through that lie. It looks horrible out there. Again, very rocky. No leaves on the trees. And this is an awful place.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
We can just pick it up. Sanders Session 1. An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife, Irene. Should we really be playing it when she's right there?
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
The hell kind of painting is that? A photograph of Sarah Hawkins next to the Sanders. They must be close. Oh, we can reconstruct. Oh no. There's going to be a puzzle there, surely. More medicine. Tome 2. This second volume in this series covers everything from gas gangrene to trench... I can't pronounce that word. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some... How do you pronounce that? I've always been curious as to how to pronounce that word. Is it avant-garde? How do you pronounce it? I'm looking it up. I should know this.
Avant-garde.
Avant-garde. Alright. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts. I totally didn't need to look up how to pronounce avant-garde. Just saying. Are we going to be hiding in there later? Alright, Irene, don't mind me.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it.
Outsource the problem.
Inside my head, I see him behind my eyelids. Each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
The painting clearly got inside his head. Right. I'm guessing I'm going to learn the tunes of the piano here. As well as some other things, perhaps. Can't go that way. Can't leave there, I guess. Yep, that's an invisible wall. What have we here? A cup of liquid. That's probably tea.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even?
Oh, were they having an affair? Please tell me they weren't having an affair.
A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Yeah, she gave it away. She didn't sell it.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
Did she refuse to sell it because she thought it was dangerous? Why would she refuse to sell this? It was a work of art that she produced, but she didn't want to sell it. I can only imagine it's because she thought it might be dangerous. But if she's already a bit, unhinged, then surely that is not a concern. Yeah, I don't think that's it. I think it's something else.
Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Very possibly. Jesus!
The Shambler. I need to see it.
I know we need to see it, but this seems like a terrible idea. No chat, I'm not a musician. I wonder if there's a secret thing where if we play a certain tune on that piano, something's going to happen. I thought we'd get something out of the flashback there, but we didn't get it. At the Sanders. Cross-checking the information given by Francis Sanders and his widow, it is possible to reconstruct the events that led to the interment of Sanders. Everything points to Sanders and Sarah Hawkins being close, linked at least by the interest the collector showed in the artist's work, but more probably by a certain friendship. Attested to by the repeated refusals of Sarah Hawkins to sell the painting, called The Shambler. Against all expectations, she finally gave it away for free. The feelings still shown by Irene Sanders towards Sarah Hawkins are evidently derived from what she considers to be the artist's responsibility. Madness struck Sanders a short while after he gained possession of the painting. Okay, that door is locked. You've got nothing to say? So many locked doors. Dissertation on an anatomical question. It is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. I'll happily take my 2% and walk away with a smile. More sleeping pills.
I could use one of those.
I found these sleeping pills in the Sanders house. Were they prescribed to Francis Sanders or to Irene? We don't know.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the shambler. Your friend, Sarah Hawkins. She knew it was dangerous. Maybe it is just as simple as that. The Whale and the God, or A Brief History of Darkwater by Erwin Greenmouth. It is focused on the past glory of the island. Dreamcatcher or a wild talisman?
Strange Amerindian pendant.
What is that? Amerindian. An ancient amulet, probably Amerindian. I've never heard of that word before. I wonder what its purpose could be.
An old diary.
This volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. Don't mind me, Cass. I mean, I'll try, but I haven't pumped strength at all. Wow, okay. New key item obtained. Key to the Sanders Gallery. I assume if we don't get it there, we need to negotiate with Cass. So that is a win. Francis Sanders must possess quite a collection of art for him to have his own gallery. Or you know, it could just be a room in his house. Can I unlock that door now? What is this? Let me... What was that musical sting just there? I can still potentially read the book. Let me talk to you first. Do you know anything about this book?
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I'll say that.
I'm not here to cause trouble, if that's what's worrying you.
Worry me? Don't overestimate yourself. If the last beating wasn't enough for you, I can always give it another go. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
I don't feel comfortable saying that.
All's fair in love and war, I suppose?
You could just say very well, Edward, and walk away.
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder. Go take a hike, Detective.
Alright, fine. Do I read the book? I'm trying to read its cover. I can't quite see it. Oh, it's, I'm gonna have to look through the clues. One moment. Yeah, it's under a course. It's here somewhere. Yeah. The Malleus Bysterium by Abigail G. I can just make out the words Malleus Bysterium on the cover there. Yeah, I'm gonna have a look at that. Has that done some bad things towards our sanity, perhaps? It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Look at the right-hand side there, smack bang in the middle. That is a symbol that we saw in the cell. Yep. Sanity slippage. I had a feeling that would happen. Pierce read an ancient treatise, the Malleus Bysterium. This bestiary makes an inventory of numerous creatures from the occult world or parallel dimensions. The very nature of its book makes it an unholy book. By reading it, Pierce lost some of his sanity. Charming. And I haven't been reading the stuff on the rights there, but that's changed. We are now shaken. The ordeals you have gone through have left their mark, but you still manage as best as you can. You keep your mind busy in order to chase away doubts and painful memories. You still have some way to go. Who knows where your mind could lead you along the paths of insanity? I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to it. Dimensional Shambler. The Dimensional Shambler comes from a dark and inhospitable dimension, where the rarity of food sources keeps it in a state of permanent starvation. This is why it is in a constant state of readiness to travel to other dimensions in order to feed on its inhabitants. Make sure you never weaken the veils of your dimension, otherwise you risk attracting this very dangerous creature. Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it, for its being to anchor itself in your dimension and to allow it to rip you open with its claws. Just looking at it is enough. The Bestiarium. Men will gather knowledge through the lines dictated to me by the Great Old Ones, but also in other volumes. The visions that assail me whisper me names and silhouettes of mystical creatures. Soon the Malleus Monstrorum, repository of all anatomical, cosmic, and dimensional knowledge, will be seen as the authoritative work. This book, unholy amongst the most cursed books, will one day be the final rampart between man and the predators that are waiting to devour him, hidden behind the veils of parallel dimensions. Yeah, I don't think these books are for kids, just saying. Knowledge, yep, we saw that. That key looks like it missed the lock, but whatever. Oh, God. Again, why is there a high point here? Are we about to summon a great old one or something and then have to hide from it? Okay, this dude was in deep.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Yeah, not worried about those. I'm worried about these. No line of dialogue, just a They're like sphinxes, but they're horribly malformed. Alright, the painting is directly ahead. I'm not going to look at it just yet.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
And I've got to be blunt, a very disturbing art gallery. We've got a cherub or something here. Strangling a swan or a goose. Bleeding from the eyes. Perfectly normal.
the public entrance to the gallery.
The public came in here and looked at this shit? Why? Why would you want to look at this? I mean, don't get me wrong, this is great because I'm playing a video game, but if you're on the island of Darkwater, why would you ever want to come in here? We're going to lose the lights as well. Great. Was it one of these visit the art galleries and survive challenge? Impossible? Something that the kids did for a laugh, perhaps?
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Once again, I'm more worried about the text here. Alright, so before everything goes nuts, we have a hiding spot on the diagonal wall here. And the diagonal wall, well actually it's not a diagonal wall, it's just on the left of the public entrance. I mean, I'm imagining one of two things is going to happen. Either the painting's going to come to life, summon something, and we're going to have to hide, or perhaps Dr. Fuller or someone else is going to walk through that entrance and we're going to have to hide ourselves. What is that? More oil. That thing again. Okay, this one looks normal. Ish. I mean, it still looks weird. But you look on this side and there's a replication of it where it's bleeding from the neck and also bleeding from its eyes. This is some freaky shit. I love this. Alright, I've put this off long enough. The Shambler.
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Far from possessing the talents of Sarah Hawkins, Sanders drew a dagger with tortured form down to the smallest detail. The guard carries a strange esoteric symbol, a recurring feature of his correspondence with Sarah. I'm not seeing that symbol. I'm assuming we're referring to the pentagram and the sanctuary symbol with the eye in the middle, but I don't see it here. What does that also say? A good something 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 something. Can't read it. I wonder if that dagger is in one of the cases. Alright. The Shambler. Oh, hell. It's alien isolation all over again. Is it blind?
What the hell was that?
Hopefully it's a figment of your imagination. Oh jeez, okay, we can't look at it. Yes, I know how to hide in closets. Please don't take that sentence out of context. everything went really, really weird when I was looking at it earlier. I did see it sort of disappear and then reappear, but something weird happened with Pierce's vision. Right now, what is the goal? Just to get out of here? Well,
I can't even touch it.
can't
No
touch
way
the door.
out. No choice. I must get rid of it.
I've got to get rid of this horror? GNP, have I played Alien, by the way? I've absolutely played Alien. Alien Isolation is excellent. A bit rough around the edges in certain spots, but it is an excellent game. Yeah, we're not surviving this. I assume perhaps what I need to do is find this dagger and use it on him. The lights are out though. I assume I'm going to have to use the lamp to light up the object. Grab it.
Down. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Was it that dagger? That's literally the first one that I saw. Ah, fuck. Okay, so I assume we are looking for this particular dagger. Was that it?
What the hell was that?
This would explain why Edward was going, at all of the various display cases. Yeah, my vision is rocking whenever I look at it. Rocking like a mofo, and we're dead. Yeah, we can't hide from that. We can outrun it? Really? Okay, that's not it. At least I don't think that's it. Yeah, I think the first thing I need to do is identify the dagger. It's got a sort of, it's got a curved handle. It's got two distinct flanges on the left and right of the handle. And then it goes up in like a double helix pattern. I don't see the flanges on that thing. That's not it. Can't get out there either. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. Definitely not that one. Oh, hell. I can outrun this, which is quite frankly shocking. It's that one. I think. Might be that one. Alright, there was one more in here that I didn't check. It's directly ahead. No, okay. It's the one here and to the left. It's this one here.
This dagger looks different.
Alright, so this is probably a mistake. It absolutely is a mistake. So my first question is the location randomized? Hopefully not. Secondly, how do I use it? I did notice that if I hold R2, he sort of puts it up in like a guard. Like he holds it in front of him. I do wonder if there's other ways to strike, but I haven't pushed all the buttons yet. he heard me. Please just move along. Oh, come on. Right, well, he didn't open it and just kill me immediately, so that's unlike Alien Isolation.
This dagger looks different.
I'm not sure what I need to do with this. Maybe I need to stab the painting or something. Maybe. Yes. That's probably not good.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I haven't touched a boss all playthrough, ma'am. Wow. She saw nothing. Was that really all in her head? Really?
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
Okay, she's unnerved by that. That's good.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
You saw him at the pub.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off.
Canary for what?
Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.